Okay, it's 2 o'clock. I'm sure a few more will join us, but might just try and kick off on time. Welcome everyone to Ultimate Products Capital Markets Day. Thank you for all joining this afternoon. I'm Mark Percy from Shore Capital. I'm just going to do a quick introduction and then hand over to Simon Showman, the CEO, and Jenny Stewart, the Commercial Director, to do a virtual site visit. That will be about 20 minutes long, and there'll be a sort of 5-minute comfort break for anyone who requires that. Then we'll kick off with a presentation from Simon, Andy Gossard and Graham Scream at around 2:25, which will be about 20 minutes, and then there'll be a Q&A session around 2:45 this afternoon. We'll try and wrap up by 3:15. I know everyone's diaries are busy. But obviously, if anyone wants to sort of linger on, the guys will be available for further questions. So perhaps with that, I'll hand over to Simon.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Ultimate Products Showroom. Great to have you all here today, and thank you very much for your time. This is one of our showrooms. We've got 3 showrooms in total. This is the Oldham showroom, where we're based today. We have the Cologne showroom, which is a very similar setup to this. And we also have our Guangzhou showroom, which is in China, in Guangzhou. And it's next to the Peugeot Fair. And the Peugeot Fair is the biggest exhibition in the world of our products, and it happens twice a year. And our showroom is only 5 minutes away from that fair. Our ethos is very, very simple. It's John Lewis products for the Asda price. We want to put beautiful, affordable products in everybody's home. And that's what we tell all our teams, that's what we want to do. And we really focus on it. It's been an incredible journey. 24 years since I founded the business with Barry Franks. It's been lots of ups, there's been a few downs, but you know, when it doesn't go well, that is when you learn. We started the business as a clearance business 24 years ago. We were bringing in branded closeout stocks from the United States, bringing them into the UK and supplying all the retailers in the UK. The business evolved from there and started bringing in products from Asia under license. We had licenses on Anthony Laurel Thompson, we had Brabrantia, we had Gino Di Campo, and we were doing quite well with the supermarkets and with the discount stores. We then started doing own label as well for some of the retailers. But about 12 years ago, Andy and I decided there's no future in this. We decided we're going to focus on our brands and buying brands. And we've done quite well on that strategy. Our first brand that we bought was Beldray, which is our biggest brand today. We bought it for £200,000 at the time, and this year it's done £34 million. So it was definitely a good buy. And from there, we bought other brands. Today, Jenny Stewart, our commercial director, who has been in the business for 16 years, she started off as a buyer, an assistant buyer, built her way up through the business, went to Hong Kong for us and ran our Hong Kong showroom and offices, and came back a few years ago and now is in charge of the whole of the Ultimate Products sales team. And Jenny's going to show you around our business. Our business is unique. It brings 1,000 new SKUs to market every year. There's not a lot of companies that do that. We're very focused on innovation, we're very focused on our packaging, and we're extremely focused on our price. And I think over the next 15 minutes, you're going to get a good steer on that. So over to you, Jenny.
Thanks, Simon. Hi guys, I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse in hand to show you how we've been presenting to our retail partners over the course of this pandemic. We've got, at any one time, we have over 3,000 SKUs live for us to sell to our customers. These are all under our heritage brands, British heritage brands that have stood the test of time. So just the first brand that I would like to introduce you to is Clean Easy. So Clean Easy originally was a mail order door-to-door company. They used to sell gadgets and tools for your home. And we've taken this brand right back to its roots. So we have launched, we've done a soft launch into retail, and we've really focused this on our mail order and on our online markets. Again, it's gadgets, it's tools at the affordable price point. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a glimpse into what we offer here. So we have, for example, these magic erasers. The market leader currently has a 2-pack in the supermarkets for £2.99. We're a 10-pack for exactly the same price. We have all the essentials. We've got your mop buckets for retail £15. We have your sweepers. We have nifty little cloths. And then we do things like this where it's a home starter set. So you've got your 5-piece sets or your 4-piece sets. Now, if you were to buy each of these pieces individually, these pieces would cost you around £20. But this full set, this full home solution, is available as a set under Clean Easy for £15. So again, it's offering that added value, price points, offering that offer of a proposition. This brand is close to being 100 years old, so we're really, really excited by what we've got to do with this brand over the course of the next couple of years. So we've got quite a lot of marketing campaigns and promo campaigns happening. So this is really something that we're excited about, and it's something for you to watch out for. The next brand that I would like to show you is Beldray. Beldray is our biggest brand that we own. It originates as the collapsible ironing board. So they invented the collapsible ironing board, which is renowned worldwide. And it's coming up to 150 years. So again, lots of activity happening. This is a brand that we call it the Everyman brand. So we are well established across all retail sectors. So it's incredibly popular on Amazon, for example. We're well established in the supermarkets, mid-tier, and then down to the discounters. So you'll see this range, it's mass market. We've had fantastic traction with this brand across our European retailers. So this really has been a key brand to enable us to penetrate into the European market, in particular Germany, over the recent years. One of the ranges I wanted to show you is the Antibac. So currently it's more relevant now than ever. Everybody's trying to keep their homes virus-free, bacteria-free, keep their homes sparkling clean. And we successfully launched into the market, into B&M and Tesco's earlier on last year, this range of Antibac. And what we've done is we've applied a chemical to all our mops and our brooms and our cloths, which prevents the growth of bacteria, so you don't get those nasty odours or smells either. And again, it's just something unique that's out there. Clearly see here, we've got the Antibac, which is really prominent in the centre of all our packaging. It's a coordinated range. The idea behind that is you're enticing the customer to buy into a collection. So if your customer comes in for a mop, they go away with an array of products in their shopping trolley. That's one range. The next one I want to show you is Pet Plus. So again, it's likely that you've either been spending a lot more time with your pets, or you've actually may, as my CEO has, purchased a pet over lockdown and keeping you company at your home. And we've all become aware that they are quite mucky. They have lots of pet hairs and they have mucky paw prints. So we brought this collection together that helps you keep your home nice and clean. So, for example, the Pet Plus upholstery brush is a really nifty item. It's got rubber bristles here, so it attaches itself to those pet hairs. And as you clean your sofa or your fabrics or your curtains, it will attract away those fur and hair, and then leaving you with a nice clean sofa. It's quite unique, so we've had quite a lot of influencers take us up on this range. So it's a nice demonstratable product, and we launched this in CDS, the range, and we had huge successes. It's now on Amazon as well, and it's got some good traction in the upcoming year. So just something to show you there. Whilst I move over to heating and cooling, which is also under our brand Beldray, I just want to give you a little bit of a glimpse into our coordinated range. It's very difficult to make utility sparkle, and I think we've done a really good job here. So what we've done is we've applied prints to our ironing boards, which coordinate nicely with metallic finishes and softer pastel colours across our home and utility range. So just give you a little bit of an insight into our on-trend options there. Next, under Beldray again, we have heating and cooling. So heating and cooling, we are proudly established in all DIY sectors with Beldray. on heating and cooling. So you'll find us in B&Q, you'll find us in Argos, you'll find us in B&M, you'll find us in Homebase, just to name a few. I'm going to show you two ranges which are new to the market. So the first one is the Arctic Dome. We're all working from home and we've all had the pleasure of having a beautiful summer, but unfortunately it makes us very uncomfortable once we're sat there in that office. This enables you to instantly reduce down the temperature of your personal space. It's a nice desktop item. It's paint and pended, so it's unique to us. And what we've done is we've created a little item like this, which can instantly cool down the temperature of your room. So you have two water containers. You fill them with water, you freeze them. You place them in the top of this item here, and as the air penetrates through and releases with the fan, it instantly cools down the temperature of the room. On top of that, we've put a unique feature, this little nifty pad here. You apply aromatherapy oils onto the pad, you attach it on the back, and it will disperse fragrance into your room, making your room smell lovely as well at the same time. This is yours for $29.99, so it's at that affordable price point, and it makes your room nice and comfortable and smells lovely too. To move on from that, we've completed a range called the Climate Dome. It's a 4-in-1 item, so it's for all seasons. You've got your cooling element, you've got your heating, you've got your aromatherapy, and you've also got your humidifier all in this item here. It's on an oscillation as well, so it allows you to give an even distribution of fresh air, and it also comes with remote control. This is a slight higher price point than this, and this is launching the market this year. We've actually got it on Ideal currently, and it's doing exceptionally well. As you can see, the packaging there, Sam mentioned we do in-house packaging. Everything is done in-house. We create and design in-house here. This is a great execution of the packaging. So you can see here all the features and benefits are nice. It's a vibrant packaging. It jumps off the shelf and it tells you, it's very informative. It tells you exactly what a great product this is. We're now going to move on to floor care. So Beldray Floor Care has been a real surprise to us. We've successfully now become, as market data has proven, the 5th largest floor care brand in the UK. You will see us in the majority of supermarkets, but what's more excitingly is the European market really have taken a grip of this brand under floor care. So it's something that we're really excited about, and that's across the French market, the German market, and now we're introducing it into the Polish market as well. I'm just going to give you two of our best sellers this season. So the first is Airgility, and Airgility has played an incremental part in our growth of growing market share over the most recent years. We have brought to the market our Airgility. You've got 40 minutes operating time, which is perfect. It's perfect for completing a full quick clean around the home, and we give it a larger capacity tank as well. This is yours for £99 down to £79 on promo, and it's something that really is taking the market by storm. You will see this in the supermarket, so you'll see this in Tesco's, you will see this in Asda currently, just to name a few. We've given it the accreditation of Good Housekeeping because the customers resonate with Good Housekeeping as being a good quality value product. So this is something that we're now looking at applying across more products and across our ranges. And the next one that I'm just going to show you, also that has the Good Housekeeping approval, is our Revo. And Revo has been a massive success in Europe. Again, it's a supermarket range, so this is currently available in the likes of the range. It's in Tesco's, it's in Asda, it's in Lidl. We've had great traction. The way we've had great traction, again, is by whatever the market leader is doing, we're doing at significantly better price points. So the current market leader is retailing at £119. For this item here is $49.99. So what you've got is you've got a vacuum, a handheld vacuum, a really high performance vacuum. You've got this charging docking station here. You keep this on your countertop, and when those kids have left crumbs or you've been preparing loads of food and you've made a little bit of a mess, you quickly just tap up all your dust, goes into here, you place it back onto the docking station there, and it'll charge away. I've actually got one of these at home. It's very, very good. Something for you to have a look at. Yeah. Then we're going to move over to another brand. So that's just giving you a quick glimpse of Beldray. I'm now going to move over to another brand of ours, which is Progress. It's a fairly new brand to us, and we're still in the process of a soft launch. But next year, excitedly, it's going to be its 90-year anniversary. So we've got quite a lot of activity happening with this brand. This brand has recently launched in Tesco. So if you go into Tesco for Jam Sale, we've had a full healthy eating bay, which was proven to be a great success. And it's also in the likes of Argos. This brand has really resonated with the German market as well. So we've seen traction in its growing market share quite quickly. So we're really encouraged by that. And it's something that we're really going to invest in next year to come. This is our trend brand. So we put a lot of style, we put a lot of flair into this brand, and we also create nice coordinating pieces. So here, for example, you've got our Scandi range. So you've got your nice matte black finish, and then with that Scandi look, we put a nice soft TPR wooden look handle on there. And it coordinates nicely across electrical and kitchen. Another example is our metallic range. This is brand new, this is hot off the press. Our metallic series, as you can see there, it looks really nice. And again, this is across kettles, toasters, cookware, countertop and bakeware. One thing to highlight here is retailers have been tasked, especially during this period, to consolidate down their supply base. The reason for that is they need to simplify trade. They've got less resource and they need to simplify how they work. So they are now picking their key supply partners to move forward with. To bring this collection together like this, there is 7 different factories, 7 different suppliers, 7 different packaging concepts, 7 different quality testers, 7 different ethical audits to apply, and then you also have to have the difficulty of bringing all the coordination across various factories to make it look like a collection there. We do this under one brand, under one supplier, so it solves that issue for them, which is something that we're seeing is gaining us some traction in new retailers. Another example that I want to show you, something exciting, is Progress Taste the World. So again, we're all trying to find a way to keep our families occupied. Nobody can eat out, nobody can go on holiday. This is a fun cooking range from across the world. So we've got taste from across the world. So we've got the Best of British Pie Maker, we've got the Crepe Maker, we've got the Pizza Stove, we've got the Indian Samosa Maker. Nobody can go skiing, so we've got a Raclette grill to create those meals at home. And then we have a teppanyaki grill there also. This is currently available in Argos and it's doing exceptionally well for us. So it's something that we're now, over the next couple of years, going to expand out on. But it's something fun, it's something interesting, and I think you'll agree it looks like a superb range there. I'm then going to take you over now to Salter. So Salter is one of the oldest kitchen brands still available today. It's got over 260 years of heritage. And we have this brand across electrical and cook shop. I'm going to show you just a few highlights of the year. So you can see again, we've coordinated across cook shop and STA. So you can see here is a nice ombre range, which is a little bit more stylish for 2021 into 22. But the range that I want to show you, which has done phenomenally well on Amazon and on our online platforms, is the Cosmos range. During lockdown, you either started lockdown last March thinking you were going to get really healthy and you're going to prepare all your own foods and so forth, or you're like me and it's got to lockdown phase 3 and you're actually thinking, no, I really need to start considering my health and getting healthy, ready for those holidays, hopefully at the end of the year. We've brought together the Cosmos range, which is a way to help you prepare all those tasty, healthy foods. So you've got everything from your 3-in-1 blender sets, to your processors, to your juicers, to your mixers, all coordinating nicely in this beautiful metallic graphite, so it's nice and safe. But again, just look at the packaging. The packaging's really inspirational. It looks fresh, it looks tasty. You know, it really does pop on the shelves. So we've had a great success of this. And again, it's something that we're going to expand out on, just giving that coordinated piece. I'm going to walk you over now to a cookware range. But as we're walking, I just want to show you the vast array of SKUs that I am lucky enough to sell to my retail partners. They're all coordinating. Each range has its own identity. So if we have a retailer, for example, who says to us, I want an exclusive range, I want an exclusive range that nobody else can compete against me for, we've got it. Fill your boots, take your choice. And then what we can do is we can channel market. So we're protecting our retailers. They can have exclusive launches, or they can have an exclusive range for a period or a season. There is enough here to go around. I wanted to show you the Megastone. The reason I wanted to show you the Megastone is, one, it's trademark. Again, it's having that unique proposition. It's a technology, it's a non-stick property that we actually created ourselves, and we trademarked it as the Megastone technology. If you go into supermarkets today, you will be fully aware of the Megastone cookware. It really has taken the market by storm, and it's actually enabled us to grow our market share to now being the second in the UK market. And how we've done that is just, again, it's quality for value price points. So here, for example, you've got the Megastone. It's 5 times tougher than a standard non-stick coating. On top of that, it's metal utensil safe. So as I always say, if you're in a rush and you're making your scrambled eggs in the morning, you can use that fork and you know it's not going to damage your lovely pan set. We launched this and we won an award. So we won the best innovative product in 2018 at the Ambiente Trade Fair. And we've developed it out now. So we're well and truly established with the Megastone. The customer resonates with it. So what we've done is we moved it over to the 7 times stronger here. And then hot off the press, which is being launched this year, this summer, is the 9 times stronger. So again, all we've done is we've evolved it, we're giving it longevity, we're keeping the Megastone going. 9 times stronger, all the same features and benefits, but it has a new feature. We've enhanced it by giving it a thermal collar. What that does is, at the optimum temperature to sear your meat or your vegetables, it will indicate to you by giving you a bright red spot that it's ready to cook, and away you go. All of this is for exactly the same price point, so you're giving the added feature of the thermo spot and the 9 times stronger for the same price points as you originally give. The reason we're doing that, we want those customers who bought the 5 times stronger or the 7 times stronger, they're happy, but it's now time to upgrade their cookware. We want them to come back and buy into Salter. We want them to come back and buy into us. The last range under Salter is a Salter Earth, which is one of my favourites. As a consumer, we are all becoming more conscious in our sustainability and the way that product is produced, and trying to think about our future, our family's future, and the world that we live in. This is something that's really important to Ultimate Products, and something that we're developing on across the business, how we operate, how much plastic we use, how sustainable we are generally, but we're now applying it to our products and our technologies that we use. So to give you an example here, so with this pan set, we have a really good quality non-stick coating. It's a non-stick coating that has no chemicals. So when it's being produced at the factories, it releases no chemicals into the environment. So it's environmentally friendly. And then on top of that, we've actually got recycled card, which gives it the sustainability element to it. All under the Salter Earth branding. We've done it under 2 ranges. So we've gone a little bit more risky with a really beautiful soft tonal pink here. And then we've also got a more earthy green. This is out there in the market. It's doing phenomenally well for us. And we're actually now going to be coordinating this with extra pieces going into the next year. That's Salter. I can talk and talk and talk, by the way, I love products. But I'm just going to go to the last brand that I want to show you, which is Russell Hobbs. Everybody knows Russell Hobbs. It's a well-recognised brand. It's also coming up to a 60-year anniversary, so it's a brand that has stood the test of time. We are lucky enough to have the brand licence on all products without a plug. So it covers cook shop, ironing boards, airers, bakeware, and utensils, and so forth. Russell Hobbs has really helped us establish ourselves within the European market. Again, it's because it's such a well-known brand out there. And it's allowed us to gain market interest in the Polish market as well, for example. It's a supermarket brand. You'll see it in Lidl, you'll see it in B&M. It's very much out there. Again, I've got a vast array of products, beautiful products, to cater for most of our retail buyers' needs. I'm just going to show you one item, which is our newest innovation. It's our space-saving cookware. So Instagrammers are influencing you now to keep your cupboards clean. Homes are getting more increasingly small. We've come up with a solution. I've given you a 3-piece pan set. So you've got a fry pan, you've got a saucepan, and you've got a casserole pot that all nicely sits securely, stacks together under a marble coating on there. So that's something new and exciting which we're launching this year. And then with that, you put all the added pieces together. So if you want extra fry pans or so forth, or knives or bake or utensils, you've got the full solution. Again, trying to entice that customer to buy into a range. So if they're coming for a pan, you want them to go away with a full collection. But this is something brand new that I just wanted to show you. And that's
Jenny?
me.
That was excellent. Like what Jenny said, you know, this was just a quick run through. When retailers do come to the showroom, they are here from morning till night.
Absolutely.
Because there's just so much to go through. Some retailers stay for 2 days. There's 3,000 products in this showroom, and as I said before, 1,000 change every year. You can see how much Jenny loves products in this business. I don't think there is really a better way to explain Ultimate Products than show you around the showroom.
Absolutely not. It's been one of our successes, as I'm saying, over the course of the last 12 months. We're not able to go and see customers, but it's been great because we're introducing customers currently through the best way. This is our stage. This is us. This is our home, and we're now inviting our customers into our home without even travelling. So it's been a great tool. It really is the future.
Right, so thank you very much. That's the first part. I think we'll pass over to Sean now to take over the Zoom, and we'll do the presentation.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you, Jenny and Simon, for that. I think we're just going to allow Simon now to run across the showroom into his office. I think there's going to be a short video.
Every story starts with an idea. With enough imagination and vision, we have the potential to create endless possibilities. A lot of things can change in 20 years, but the only direction that we've moved is forwards. From a local business to a global success, we work tirelessly around the world, around the clock. With our brands in mind, we source innovative products from 12 countries worldwide, forging relations with 300 retailers in 38 countries. Safety is one of our core values and a priority in everything that we do. From floating across the seas to floating on the stock exchange, we develop ideas, transforming concepts into viable realities. Driven by creativity, our design team follow the latest trends, continuously evolving our brands to keep us one step ahead. We anticipate tomorrow's opportunity and deliver tomorrow's product today. For every customer, every brand, every product, there's always a way. Taking products from the drawing board to the shelf and showcasing our brands is what we do best. Forging strong worldwide relationships is critical to our growth. Our relentless determination has made us the ultimate provider. With our deliveries on time every time, we bring your home to life with products to fill every room. Be part of our story.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to Simon and Jenny, though, did a fantastic presentation. I'm under official orders from Sean not to take too long, so I may go through some of the slides a bit more quickly, but we do have plenty of time for Q&A at the end if I do pass through something that you want to spend more time on. Presenting today, myself, Simon, and Graham, our CFO. Who we are, I think Simon covered quite a lot of this in the showroom. The only couple of things I would just add is our locations. Our main distribution centre is called Heron Mill, and it's here in Oldham. And then we have Manor Mill, which is where we are today, which is our headquarters and also secondary distribution centre. We have a showroom in Cologne in Germany. And we have a showroom and office in Guangzhou where our sourcing Chinese inspection team and merchandising team are based. We employ 295 people, of which 240 are based in the UK, with 55 internationally. The bulk of those international employees being based out in China. Simon spoke quite personally about, from founding the business to where we are now, and in particular that decision that we made to focus on our brands, which has really led to where we are today. And our business model is pretty straightforward. I've got a quote there from Simon, only he didn't actually say that. He said, John Lewis product for the Asda price. So, really beautiful products, because we don't think there should be any compromise. It's not okay products for a good price. It's beautiful products that anyone would be happy to have on their countertop, but at a price point that every household can afford. And what that means is that, in terms of prices, we want to be at a price point which is on or just above own label. This is a compelling offer because consumers prefer brands when it comes to general merchandise. We know this intuitively, but we also know this because we've done the market research. People want brands. Retailers often offer them own label because they're hunting for margin. We understand that. And so what we offer the retailer is their own label margin. So really it's a win-win all round. The retailer gets their margin, and the consumer gets a beautiful product that's branded. And what we deliver through this to the retailer is like-for-like growth, using what we call a land and expand model. So we persuade the retailer to test first, and then when we demonstrate like-for-like growth and therefore increase profitability for the retailer, then we're rocking and rolling, and then from there we'll increase distribution to more stores. We'll also increase the SKU count at that point. In terms of barriers to entry, they're twofold really. Our brands provide significant stickiness. If we test Beldray with a retailer and they see 20 to 30% like-for-like growth and the huge increase in profitability that comes with that, the decision next season, sure, they can move away from Beldray, that's fine, and they could go on label or they could go to another brand, but it becomes a much riskier decision for the retailer, we feel. And so if we're in for one season and we demonstrate what our capability, then typically we're in for several seasons. The other aspect of the barrier to entry story, which I guess is summarised on the next page. Many people understandably look at our business and say, well, anyone can do that. You're just moving boxes basically. In a way, they're right. Anyone can do what we do. But if they're going to do it, they're going to need to spend the next 10 years investing in systems, because what we do is complex. Retailers, understandably, make it simple for them by making it complex for their suppliers. And the ability to manage that complexity requires significant investment in the business. So we can handle 300 retailers, all of whom want to be supplied slightly differently, sometimes a lot differently. And we can do that to a very high performance level. For example, one of our key metrics, on-time delivery, over 98% on-time delivery, which we've sustained since 2013. If you're going to bring 1,000 products to market, you best make sure that your QA processes, your product development processes, and indeed things like your ethical processes are really up to scratch. And just as importantly as part of that, you best make sure you've got the talent, because I think as you saw there with Jenny, product takes talent, and what we have at UP is a talent development process, which is grounded on our graduate development scheme, and today 43% of our workforce have come through the graduate development scheme. I won't spend too long on this slide. Our specialisms, we do have a number of product areas. These 5 are our main product areas. So small domestic appliances, which covers kitchen electrical and electrical floor care. Housewares, so cookware and associated products. Laundry, audio, and heating and cooling. they're our main divisions and they're in good health. The where we do see the substantial part of our growth coming from over sort of future years is from those three on the left, SDAs, housewares, and laundry. Our strategy, some of you will be very familiar with this, although it has evolved since we IPO'd. When we IPO'd, we had sort of three pillars: supermarkets, online, and discounts. Since IPO, we've kind of sort of sort of focused things, and we've added international to the fore. And we see ourselves, back then we saw ourselves, I suppose, as a primarily domestically focused business targeting 60 to 70 million consumers. Now we very much see ourselves as a business targeting 500 million consumers across UK and the rest of Europe. And those other pillars, supermarkets, online, discounts, they're the channels by which we go at those consumers, how we get to them. Why those pillars? Well, as our chairman always hammers into us, back the winners. You know, Jim's always saying, look, guys, back the winners, and don't drive yourself mad with everything else. So, you know, online and discount, big growing segments, and supermarkets, particularly resilient segments, as we've seen recently. And still a place where the vast majority of people shop each week, and an area where historically perhaps we were a little underweight, not anymore. What we're finding in Europe is, which is a sort of a twist on our UK story, is we're typically going straight in at supermarket level. So that's very exciting. I'm going to hand over to Simon at the moment to say a few words about our retail partners.
Hi, thanks, Andy. I think, as you can see, we supply everybody we want to supply in the UK. As Jim keeps drilling us, supply the winners, and that's what we do in the UK. To expand in the UK and expand turnover in the UK, it's about getting more SKUs in the retailer. So working with Tesco's and Sainsbury's, who we're very strong with, we do a lot of housewares with them. What we've been focusing on now is putting our laundry division in, heating and cooling, and SDA. SKUs are going in, and now they're expanding. Amazon is another great customer. That's again about test, repeat, maximize, get the SKUs in there, see if they work. If they do, repeat again, and then maximize. But Europe is the big prize. Europe is really what shocked us, because we're taking English heritage brands, and we thought it was going to be a hard sell, but it's been a great sell, because the European retailers, I feel, are seeing us as a different supplier coming into the market with really nice products, and it is slightly different to what they're doing, completely different packaging and price points that work just above own label. So the reaction from Europe is really, really good. And now it's about, again, we haven't got many accounts there. We've got a few, and Europe is 5 times, 6 times bigger than the UK. We're working very, very hard now on our sales strategy to open the European market. We've opened Kaufland, which is one of the biggest retailers there. We've had 7 repeats from them, so you can see our products working. Riva, 3,000 stores, Pennymark. We've just received last month our first Lidl international order, which was 10,000 stores. So we're definitely opening the doors there, and it's about delivering top quality products that sell, and that's what I feel we do. We've just opened the Polish market over lockdown, and we've had our first order from Biedronka, which is 3,000 stores there, a supermarket. So to touch a bit on what Andy just said, we're not going in at the discounters like we did in the UK. We're going straight in at supermarket level, and there is the volume there. Very interesting as well, Amazon Europe, which is huge. We've started listing on there, and we are getting some very nice sales. It's been a bit difficult to deliver over the last 4 weeks with all the new laws and legislation, but we're getting around that, and we've started again delivering this week. But Amazon is again a very big prize in Europe. So there's lots of new big customers to go at, which excites me. We're just at the beginning in Europe, so there's a lot to do. If you just turn the page, our brands, which is what we've been focusing on very heavily, we've just had a really good insight into the flavour of our brands, our innovation, and also the excellent packaging. And like I did say, retailers do like spending the whole day in there. I'm sure you got it. John Lewis product for the Asda price. But what that does is it creates volume. You're not selling a few in department stores, you're selling volume into the supermarkets. When we're buying these brands, and a lot of you guys have said it to us, you hardly pay anything for them. Well, that's really in our DNA. We don't try and pay a lot for anything. But also with these brands that we're selling, we can't pay a lot because we're selling it just above own label. So we don't want to invest 10 million, 15 million pound buying a brand. We've got the capability of buying a brand that is a heritage brand that just needs reloving, repackaging and remarketing. And I'd rather put the money into that and then sell it onto the volume market. I think you can use Beldray is our case study. We bought it for 200 grand and now it's doing 30 odd million. Our focus now as a business is we're going to do the same with Clean Easy. Again, we've had a great launch, great reaction and progress, which you can see has had a good reaction in Europe, a very good reaction in Europe. So they're the two ones we're going to focus on. And now Petra, which we bought last week, which was announced yesterday, which was a heritage brand in Germany and has got very, very good recognition. And our full team are behind us. We've been working the last couple of weeks developing, starting the packaging, and we're going to bring this as a really sustainable brand. Packaging is going to be sustainable, product sustainable, and really smash open the market in the European market. We've spoke to customers, they know the brand, and they're excited to see what we're going to do with it. I have to touch on our licenses because they are big. Salter and Russell Hobbs. We've had them for over 10 years now. There's a few years left on the licenses. We've got very good relationships with them, very good partnerships. And also we give them very big checks every quarter, which they like. Could they do it themselves? Not really. Russell Hobbs has tried to do it themselves years ago, and that's why they give it over to us. They could change and go with somebody else, but they'll lose 2 years of commission. Because the most important thing is everything you've seen in that showroom under the Salter or under Russell Hobbs is our product. It's our innovation, it's our design, it's our packaging. So someone would have to start all over again. And as you can see by the figures we're doing good figures with them. But obviously we do look at it as a risk. So we are always on it. But the relationships are fantastic with them. And if we turn over.
Okay, so back to me. So developments in the business. I guess we could call this the sort of what's happened since IPO slides, because I know some of you maybe were familiar with the story back then, but possibly have lost touch. First of all, major supplier to supermarkets both in the UK and Europe. This is a big change since 2017. You can see the growth in revenue as well as share, and we talked about that quite a lot up until now with the presentation. Also on panel number 2, online, it was a baby really when we back in 2017. 14.5% of revenue in FY20, 18% in the second half of FY20. So our previous sort of much stated target of 20% for online is now very much in sight. So we've set ourselves a target of 30% of revenue for online, and the great thing is we're looking at expected growth really on a template basis. We have a template that works really well, selling via platforms, particularly the likes of Amazon and eBay, and it's about really rolling that template out into the European territories. All those platforms are up and established, so we have Amazon. All of the Amazon European territories open and rocking and rolling. It's about now really sort of driving revenues. So it's really about kind of rolling out what we already know. International, really a step change. As we talked about a lot about international already. Don't worry about that flattening in FY20 because that was all down to COVID. We are our biggest European customer and second biggest customer overall has been sort of closed off and on since spring last year. We do expect international to be the majority of our business within the next 2 to 3 years. Within that story, Germany, we owned our Cologne office in 2018, and we've seen substantial growth in revenue and in share. And when we looked at Germany, we thought, we can really bring something different to this market, as Sam has already spoken about. Again, don't worry about the flattening in FY20. That was all down to one particular customer that changed ownership, and we unfortunately had to stop dealing with that account. Excluding that, we saw 40% growth during FY20. We're very, very excited about that territory, and we're seeing really a strong reaction to our brands, our product, and our overall offer. What else has happened? Well, we've definitely become more diversified. I think it's clear in retrospect we were perhaps a bit overly concentrated on the discount segments. That has now, is rebalanced really with online growing as a proportion and supermarkets growing as a proportion. And this really goes to resilience as a business. When times get tough, having a diversified approach, as we've seen over the last 12 months, really means that we can shift our focus to face down those challenges. And what we've seen in the last 12 months, so for example, with one or two notable exceptions, discounters have tended to be more likely to be closed as non-essential stores. But of course, because of our positioning with online and with supermarkets, that's enabled us to trade through what has been and to some extent still is a very, very challenging period. When we IPO'd in the prospectus, customer concentration was rightly highlighted as a key risk. 47% of revenue in FY17 came from our top 2 customers. In FY20, that was 26%. So I think that's kind of largely off the table now as a risk. And we are seeing a number of customers coming through through to the top of the list to challenge those accounts. Talking about resilience, we are definitely financially a lot stronger. We've seen debt fall. We saw a lot of de-gearing during FY20, and that's continued into FY21, which Graham will talk about in more detail later. Along with that, of course, we've seen our headroom within facilities improve. And that's largely because we have a capital light model. So when you look through kind of annual fluctuations in working capital over the medium term, we retain half our profits in the business, and that does flow through into reduction of debt. And I think we're sort of very lightly leveraged these days. What else has changed? Well, we have more brands. We did have Russell Hobbs when we IPO'd, but in 2018 we extended the license into Europe. And Russell Hobbs has really been a bit of a door opener, sort of a gateway brand to a lot of our international retailers. They know Russell Hobbs. It's often the first brand we sell into them. And off the back of that, we would then sell in our other portfolio of brands. Progress, we did own Progress when we IPO'd, but we've, the main launch of that really came after IPO, and we are seeing, I think Progress will definitely be one of our fastest growing brands in FY21, that's for sure. We've seen a very strong positive reaction in Europe. Clean Easy we acquired in 2018. We acquired it, we had sort of modest expectations here. We acquired it really as a plan B for Beldray. So sometimes if you're selling one brand into a particular retailer, sometimes you can't sell that same brand into their direct competitors. So we thought Clean Easy would give us a plan B for Beldray. But I have a feeling it might give it a bit of a run for its money. It's when we did market research, we found awareness was actually higher for Clean Easy than for Beldray. Obviously, it's almost 100 years old itself as a brand. And then very recently, the acquisition of Petra. We think this is a watershed moment. Very excited about it. We're going to be relaunching Petra with a new branding, a new range into autumn winter to be sold into the spring summer 22 market. Well, our sales have gradually become more branded. We were quite heavily branded anyway in 17, but even from that high base, we've seen an increased share of brands as our overall revenue. And then panel number 10, and I think this is a substantial opportunity for the future. Marketing has always been a little bit problematic for us because, as Simon said, we need to hit those own label price points, own label or just above. So spending lots of money on marketing is tricky. So over the last few years, in the past, we relied upon Simon and Jenny and the team's expertise in selling the brands in, getting them onto shelves, and almost let that shelf space build awareness. What we've developed in the last couple of years is a formula that really works to cost effectively market our brands. I won't go into too much detail because it's commercially quite sensitive, but it's really using a blend of social media, including social media advertising, use of influencers, good old-fashioned PR, and also Amazon AMS, where we do seem to have developed a particular expertise. And of course, Amazon is the platform where lots of people shop. So if you're well known on Amazon, you're well known, full stop. So that's kind of what's happened over the last few years. So what does the future look like? And this slide really is an attempt by us to look at what does the post-COVID world look like, or what will it look like, and how might we fit into that? Well, I think we are well placed. We do think, compared to pre-COVID, that people will spend more time at home. We do think there will be more working from home than there was before the pandemic. And that just is inevitably, I think, an opportunity for homeware brands. Even if you go from a 5-day week in the office to 4 days, you're looking at maybe a 40% increase in the time you're spending it at home, just from that quite modest change. Within that, we think home cooking is here to stay. People have learned how to cook and they quite like it. It's good fun. And it also saves a lot of money. And so we think that's a big opportunity for Salter, Russell Hobbs, Progress, and our Petra brands. As part of that overall work from home story, we think cleaning and hygiene will remain a high priority. More time at home, more cleaning will need to be done. But also there's been a cultural change during the pandemic, we feel, and I think a lot of that will stick in terms of hygiene and cleanliness. We've had it drummed into us, those habits. I think will take a while to lose. Online is, I don't think anyone would disagree with this. It's a structural change. It's an acceleration of what would have happened anyway. Probably 3 or 4 years worth of development in one. We're well placed both in terms of our products, but also operationally. Serving online is not easy. We're operationally well placed to do this. I mean, we now expect online share to grow to 30% of revenue over the medium term. The next one might be a little bit contentious. There's a wall of cash, 250 billion at the last count of money that people have saved. Undoubtedly, a decent proportion of that will be redeployed when the economy opens. But we also think that it's been an eye-opener, COVID. It's been an insight into how people spend their money. And I think people have become more conscious of that unconscious spend. Whether it's the gym membership you don't use, or it's the coffee that costs you, 10 to 15 pound a week. So we think that although there will clearly be a normalizing for where we are now, compared to pre-COVID, expenditure will be more considered. People have saved a lot of money, and I think they quite like it. So we think that's good for brands like ours that deliver value. COVID has led to a lot of retail insolvencies, but also retail winners. And when you look at those people, the supermarkets, the larger discounters, online, obviously, we're well placed there. They are largely our customers. So, Jim was right all along. We focused on the winners, and I think the benefits of that have been accelerated by the pandemic. We also think the COVID crisis has been a wake-up call as to the fragility of supply chains, PPE being the most extreme example. But more generally, it's been a very, very challenging period for those running the supply chain, including ourselves. And you know, we are just very, very good at it. And we do think that post-COVID there will be perhaps a sort of a change in emphasis from retail, and they will favour those more reliable suppliers, which we think very much plays to our strengths. Finally, Brexit. I'd love to say lots of positive things about Brexit, but it's quite difficult, in my opinion. But hey, that's politics. The reality about Brexit is those who can make the best of Brexit are going to be those people who handle complexity well. Well, complexity is what we do. So I think we're well placed to get the best outcome possible, and through that sort of make sure that we are successful in our strategy of targeting those 500 million consumers across Europe. So I'm going to hand over to Graham to talk us through the income statement.
Thanks, Andy, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's fit and well. So income statement, I think the key points to note here is that we've had continued revenue growth, but it's been interrupted in FY20 with the crisis and the impact of store closures through there. But FY21 has been back to normal service, and as we indicated recently, we're expecting revenues for 21 to be in excess of 135 million. And looking down to the underlying EBITDA margin, what you can see there is that we've got sustained improvement in the EBITDA margin over the years, and how that's come about. There's a couple of factors there, key factors there. Simon mentioned repeats a number of times. So it's leveraging the product development, not just with the same customer, but also across a wider base. So now with the international focus, we've got a much broader base of international channels. The 500 million consumers that Andy referred to gives us a much greater opportunity to leverage that product development over a longer period. Also, in terms of product life cycle, the growth of online has significantly enhanced the life cycle for products there. And then not to be understated is our continued focus on improvement and productivity gains. Inch by inch, we keep making these improvements. We have a team that meets every 2 weeks, looks at whatever the opportunities are, and develops quick and efficient and low investment solutions to give us those productivity gains, and all helps feed through into an underlying EBITDA margin improvement. So Sure have got a forecast of improving from 9% to 9.3% in FY21, and as far as we're concerned, our target over the medium term is to continue that development and increase EBITDA margin to 10% over the medium term. Briefly on exceptionals, briefly because it's very small, it's just purely non-cash share-based payment items with the impact of the furlough claim in 20, and then the repayment will impact it, having repaid that early in FY21. So overall, the income statement is relatively simple, and we have very little non-underlying or exceptional items in there. And in terms of FY21, the trading update we issued recently, as I mentioned earlier, revenue we're expecting to be above 135 million, and that would deliver EBITDA in excess of 12.6 million and profit before tax over 10.3 million. Okay, move over onto the balance sheet now. So the balance sheet is relatively straightforward. As Andy mentioned earlier, we are a capital light business. IFRS 16 did try and throw a bit more complexity into it, and probably that just is drawn out in the tangible assets of the 5.1. Large share of that, over 3 million, is related to the IFRS 16 assets. Other underlying assets are relatively low, as we do outsource the manufacture. Intangibles, that's very low still, although we have doubled it with the acquisition of Petra. It only represents the cost of brands acquired, and as Simon mentioned, we never pay much for that. Product development costs themselves are expensed as incurred on it through the P&L each year. On working capital, stock, the majority relates to what we term sold stock, where it's stock that we've brought in and acquired and allocated for a customer's specific future order. We then have free stock, which isn't for an order, and that's typically in the range of about £5 to £7 million. Debtors is primarily trade debtors, amounts due from the retailers. It's almost fully insured, 97% in FY20, and our debtor days range in between 50 and 60 days, so relatively stable across that. Derivative financial instruments, that reflects our forward FX deals under our hedging policy. So we're buying dollars forward from the cost side, and we're selling euros forward from the revenue side. In terms of debt, we refinanced in September 19 for 5 years, and that takes us to 2024 for a suite of senior debt and trade facilities. And the trade facilities help manage the working capital needs of the business. Over FY20, we saw significant de-gearing of the business, and that's continued into 21, where at the half year, our net bank debt was just 1.5 million, with very high levels of headroom, over 25 million at the end of January, and well within banking covenants there. Okay, so finally then on to the cash flow statement. I think the most significant influence on the cash flow is the working capital position. Typically, as we grow, as revenue grows, then we'll see working capital cash outflows to fund the debtors, to fund the stock stock balances. But that's exactly where our trade facilities come in. They're highly effective, and they're designed to match and flex with the increase in working capital demands of the business that's required by that growth. So they're very effective in delivering the funding we need for any working capital increase. Dividends on the cash flow. The group dividend policy is to distribute 50% of underlying profits after tax, and that's comfortably supported by the levels of headroom we've got in the business, and also over time a strong version of EBITDA into cash. And that 50% sort of distribution leaves 50% in the business, which has led to that reduction in debt over time that we've seen. Just finally then, in April last year, we're in the height of the crisis. We were also in the height of our interim audit, and in spite of the enormous uncertainty that we and the rest of the business structure was facing at that time, BDO was still happy to sign off a clean report for the interims, and their feedback to us was that was quite unusual at that time. And that's increased scrutiny, but also similar comfort was then repeated with the longer term viability statement that we included within the FY20 annual report. Again, sort of BDO were able to give a clean report on that in spite of the still ongoing uncertainty and high level of scrutiny that they required to be able to sign off on that.
Okay, so as you can see from the last 11 months, it's been a very, very busy 11 months, and we've learned an awful lot in the business. And I think we're coming out of the pandemic a much stronger business and better business. But I would like to say, I think the most proudest achievement we've all done in the last 11 months is look after our community. You know, we sorted the business out first. We spent our first month head down, putting the business into good practice, and we did that. And then we went to work on the community, and we're based in Oldham. And funnily enough, this morning when I first woke up and turned on Sky News like most of us do, Oldham was the first reel that came on about how underprivileged it is and how deprived of the town it is and what's going on here at the minute. And we know this because we're involved and we're helping. So when the pandemic first started, we went to helping the food banks, and there was big shortages, and we did what we did best. We sourced product for them. I'm sure you all remember there was a big shortage of baby powder milk and also nappies. So we got onto people and big wholesalers in Scotland, and we managed to get the baby milk, and we continue to get the baby milk and the nappies, and continue delivering food, nappies and baby milk. Hospitals, we helped out with the nurses and the doctors. We gave thousands and thousands of power banks because they were working double shifts, and the first thing that runs out is your phone. So we thought power banks, and they loved it. We also gave them bamboo reusable coffee mugs, about 20,000 of them. So they had, they always had a coffee with them. That went down very, very well. One that I really, really care about is the domestic abuse survivors. There was a lot of this going on, and still a lot of going on. We provide starter packs for their alternative accommodation. So all the laundry packs, even when they get a mug, they left the house with nothing, and this mug means everything, but they're getting a mug, an ironing board. That's been a really, really big one. I think, but the best one, and I'm just going to finish on the best one. If you look at the picture, you'll see Ruby on the left and Maisie on the right. These are young carers. So these are kids that have really not been able to leave the house for 11 months, have had to take over the caring job, looking after their parents. And that can be all different sorts of things, but feeding them, helping clothe them, medicine, and I'm sure a lot more that you can think about. And what we've done with these kids, these fabulous kids, is we've been handing out computer tablets, which has enabled them to go on Wi-Fi, which has enabled them to work and do their work for school. It's enabled them to speak to friends. It's enabled them to speak to family, and it's enabled the carers to actually speak to them and help them. It really has been very, very rewarding, and we are carrying on this work. It's been such a huge success. We did a survey with the people who've handed the tablets out. 92% said it reduced their sense of isolation for these children. So that's been a really, really big one for us. And like I just said, we're going to do a lot more of it. So just to move on to environmental, for my end of mine, environmental impact is also well on our focus. We have a committee now at work, which we've had for the last 6 months, and we are focused on reducing our packaging and changing our packaging. Just in one of our categories, by reducing packaging the last 6 months, we have reduced 780,000 plastic bags. I couldn't believe it when they gave me that figure, and that's just the start for us. We are committed in being the market leader in our sector, and that's what we want to be. We want to be the best at this, and I'm sure over the next couple of years we'll have a lot more to say about it. Andy?
Thanks, Simon. So final slide before Q&A. What's the investment proposition? Now, this is a question which is very close to my heart as a sort of 10% shareholder in the business. How do I view the investment opportunity with UP? Well, for me, it's about 3 things. First of all, growth. We're going after 500 million people, and we're barely out the traps. There's huge scope for growth, really for the foreseeable future. Secondly, because we're a capital light business, we can distribute along the way. Unusual for a growth business. We can distribute half of our profit after tax as dividends. So there's a good blend of growth and income there, which I think is unusual. But then finally, is resilience, and resilience for me comes from two ways. First of all, we're financially strong. I think we've demonstrated that. But I think more than that, we have a very agile commercial model. When tough times come, and in business, in the end, tough times always come eventually. We've seen that over the last 12 months. you know, we have the ability to move very quickly and adapt very quickly in a way I think that many other businesses can't, because of, you know, the fixed investments that they may have. And I think if any evidence at all was needed of that, then certainly the last 12 months. So that for me is a significant shareholder myself is the key. Growth, income, backed up by a strong resilience. And so we're on to Q&A. So over to you, Mark.
Perfect, thank you for that. Conscious of time, but hopefully we can get a goodly amount of questions in from the floor. Just one point, I think on Zoom, some of you may now need to go to reactions to get to raise your hand to ask a question. Depends on which version you have, but if you can't see your raise hand immediately, maybe it's in reactions. So you may have to twiddle around on your iPad PC to find it, but and I'll try and do it in order of people asking questions, but bear with me while I check who's asking. Chris Wickham, maybe I think I see you first.
Thank you. Very good presentation, lovely, brilliant insights. Just a couple of things. I think, Simon, you said quite clearly at the end of a previous virtual showroom for smaller investors that you were definitely interested in making an acquisition in Germany, and I think you proved to be a man of your word after Monday's announcement. I was wondering, perhaps on that particular subject, whether you could talk a bit about the time taken to make that acquisition, and then also including that sort of sifting out other potentials, and then talk a bit more about follow-ons, other acquisitions you might be able to make in that particular region. And the second thing is something else I think you've touched on in the past, which is easy credit. And I was just really wondering, where that might fit in, what your sort of average spend per customer is per year. And given you've got that massive benefit of affordability, or you've got that as a USP, what would easy credit bring to the party in a company like yourself?
Just to go on, I'll answer the Petra one, Andy can answer the credit one, but Petra took 2 years to buy. I was introduced to the brand a couple of years ago, and the company was asking €2 million for it. On that, at the time, I bid them €50,000, and as you know, we bought it. We bought it for €100,000. It will help us buy more brands in Germany, because this has already started going out marketing into the German market, and a lot of people are talking about that we've done this deal. But we're not going to go out driving ourselves mad buying, looking for brands, because that's when you overpay. We'll find them and we'll target them, and then we'll work on them, and then hopefully some will come to us. But there's a lot of work to do with this Petra, and there's a lot of recognition, and I want to bring a really strong range out over the next 4 months. And like I said to you before, I want to bring a sustainable range out, so it hits the market with something very, very different. But I want to buy. We want to buy more brands, and it's not just European brands. We'll buy more UK brands, especially if we've got a gap in that sector. And I'm sure over the next, over the next 12 months, more will appear.
And just on the easy credit, Chris, are you referring there to the likes of Klarna or that kind of thing? Is that?
Well, it's a question that was asked towards the end, I think, of a previous investor presentation. Somebody raised that issue, and I was just trying to square the idea that you might go down an easy credit route, allow people to pay in installments, etc., especially online.
Yeah,
trying to square that with what your customers' average spend would be anyway, and that sort of thing, annually maybe.
Yeah, it's not really on our agenda at the moment. That might be an oversight. We're still predominantly a wholesaler, so the retailer tends to own that relationship with the consumer. Even online, we typically sell via platforms. I think there is, when we discussed it around the board, there is some nervousness around, I suppose the ethics of buy now, pay later. So at the moment, it's not on the agenda.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. If anyone's having problems finding raised hands, it may also be under participants. If you go to that icon, and then I think you can do raised hand there. I think, Gervais, I did see your hand up earlier. I didn't know if you still had a question.
I was going to ask about whether cost increases were beginning to come through. We've heard about shipping costs going up. Clearly, the Chinese exchange rate's been going up. There's obviously costs of oil and consumables potentially going up as well. I wanted to know whether you were seeing much in the way of cost increases coming through your supply chain. You have fixed prices.
Yeah, we are.
Whether they come through for next year.
Yeah, there's we're seeing sort of cost increases. You know, factories are in demand at the moment, so there is some upward pressure there. Shipping has been really the story of the moment, with quite a big spike in shipping costs ahead of Chinese New Year. I mean, you know, when it comes to discussions around factory cost increases, this is a discussion which has gone on since I joined the company 15 years ago. You know, there's always moments when we have to manage these things, and for the last 15 years we've managed this, you know, while maintaining a broadly stable gross margin. You know, it's just kind of what we do. When we focus on margin, really our focus is, you know, we very much look at that operating margin line. So, you know, whatever challenges we might have at the gross margin line, we've got to be just, you know, more productive as a business, so that you know, that productivity feeds through into that EBITDA margin. Well, certainly at the moment, when we did our update a week or so ago, very much factored into that was that there was additional shipping costs. We've got good visibility of what those costs are in the run of the Chinese New Year, and then how they may settle post CNY. We've taken, I think, a sensibly conservative view of that, and we've taken advice from our forwarders as well.
Okay, thanks very much. I mean, I suppose the question was whether you're going to have to move unit price at stage, but I mean, you probably move unit prices every year to some extent as you bring new brands and new products through anyway.
Yeah, the way Gervais, we have always offset any kind of cost price inflation is through innovation. So, you know, if we're selling a product for $19.99, what you can't just do is increase the price of that product to say $24.99 and that's it, because volume drops quite significantly. What we've got to do if we move the price point to $24.99 is introduce additional innovation. So we're moving the price, but we're given enhanced value for that, and then the consumer will buy that, and we can move the price without the loss of volume.
Okay, thanks.
Maybe turn to one of the home team, Clive Black.
Oh yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Very good presentation. A couple of questions from me. First of all, could you say a little bit more about your internal resource, your graduate development scheme, and you know, what takes place in Oldham in terms of that end-to-end supply chain? I think as Jenny mentioned, you do your own design for packaging, but I'd just like to know more about what you do actually as a proprietary brand owner. And then just in terms of future categories, I think you mentioned the 3 areas you wanted to focus on. But would there be further contiguous product categories that you would look at in the future? And indeed, would you think, as the Prime Minister advises us, you know, to stuff Europe and look at the rest of the world? Thank you.
Simon, would you like to take some of that, or do you want me to?
I'll take the second one. On the houseware side and the SDA side and the laundry side, the markets are huge. There are hundreds of tens and tens of billions of pounds, and especially when you do go into Europe, and we're just a little player in it. You know, there's so much more to do, and that's where we want to focus. That's why we used to have 9 categories, and we've reduced it to 5. Because we want to become best in class in what we do, especially when you're spending so much time on the innovation side and the packaging side. And I have definitely noticed over the 5 years reducing categories and focusing, being better on a category, makes you a lot stronger with the retailer, a lot stronger. And how can we forget Europe? there's another 400 odd million people live there. It's a huge market.
Thank you.
Yeah, and on our doorstep. I think, Clive, when we IPO'd, we did expect that we would target, I suppose, what we perceive to be the more Anglophile markets, like say the US, India, Australia, whatever. But we found when we've gone to Europe that they've been very receptive to our offer. It's a bit counterintuitive, why would the French want to buy Beldray? But they do. And so we need to take full advantage of that, because our ability to serve it from here and get those kind of operating efficiencies and operating leverage is much greater than trying to do trying to target the States, say, which you could argue is a bigger opportunity. In terms of resource, graduate development scheme is which we introduced in 2012 has been an absolute game changer. We've had now a number of people come through into senior positions through that scheme. Our sort of head of IT, our head of housewares. These are people who've come through the graduate scheme. We've got a number of Craig, our HR director and a member of the operating board, came through an early version of the graduate scheme pre 2012. So we are seeing people come through into really quite senior positions, and the sort of energy and ingenuity that they bring, and also the insight into new technologies and sort of market tastes has been great. It is unusual for Oldham as one of the most deprived towns in England. It makes us really in Oldham now, and this has been a development over the last few years. We are now very much perceived as the sort of blue ribbons employer. Our employer brand is exceptionally strong here, and that means that we get first pick of the talents, and there are a lot of talented people in Oldham. It's got some great schools, got great people, and those people want to work for UP. It's a very high profile brand. In terms of what we do resource wise, we do try and do as much as possible in house. So you mentioned the design team. We have a 25 strong design team. We have our own photography studio. We have our own video producer. So we do try and have that resource in house, because we can then leverage that across all these products, across all these brands, across all these territories, which again goes to that strong operating margin.
Thank you very much.
I think Tom Hearn, I think you had a question as well.
Yeah, thanks. It was just on the increased penetration in online going forward, potentially up to 30%. Will that change your ability to have that structural margin? I think you're targeting 10% EBITDA. Could it be increased because of that increase online, or does that actually make it harder to hit the 10%? How do you see that?
So when we look across our channels, and this is why we do tend to think primarily in terms of our operating margin. They have different gross margin and different profiles in terms of operating cost. So some of our, I've got to be quite careful what I say here, but some of our channels might have a lower gross margin but a lower cost to serve, feeding down into a similar operating margin. With online, it typically has a higher starting gross margin, but it does have a much higher operating requirements. It needs more overhead. If you're sending individual parcels out to Mrs. Miggins in Peterborough, that's a lot more expensive on a per unit basis than an FOB full container order for a large discounter. So we've spent a lot of time, the increase in online demand, Tom, over COVID has been very welcome, but it has brought certain operational challenges, and we've had to really, during COVID, revolutionize some of the processes that we have in Herod Mill to more efficiently get that product out and at the same time increase the capacity there.
Okay.
Okay. I don't see any more questions. I appreciate it's quite a big audience. And also conscious of time. So what I've thought is if anyone has any sort of further questions they don't want to raise in sort of this public forum, do sort of just talk to your normal Shortcap representative and we'll get those questions through to the team, and I'm sure they'll also respond either via us or direct to you. So please do that if you have any sort of questions we don't necessarily want to raise in this sort of forum. We are sort of 3:30, so a touch over, but I think it's been a great session. I don't know, Simon, if you just want to sort of any closing remarks.
No, not really. I quite enjoyed that. I mean, maybe a last closing remark. Andy might shout at me after, but you know, people do ask me, have we had the COVID headwind? I think we have had a bit of a COVID headwind, but we've also had our number 2 and number 3 customer closed as well. So we've had the double. We've had the headwind and we've had the tailwind. So and we've been very resilient, and I think the ultimate team overall, have been tirelessly in making sure we deliver on time and run this business so we can pay wages. So really, I want to thank the ultimate team